empathy, how to find your soulmate. In this video, we're going to be talking about which personality types are more likely to be jealous or show signs of possessiveness in their close relationships, but more specifically, their romantic relationships. I think to be able to answer this question, we have to look at two characteristics that we're looking at. One, if this person is a feminine versus masculine energy, and second, if this person is the spontaneous or the structured organizational style. So, generally speaking, people who are the feminine type tend to have closer relationships. So these are people who tend to be warmer, more inviting, they're more patient, they're more affectionate. So you'll see that if you are with someone who is the feminine type, more empathic type, whether they're male or female or their sexual orientation or age, you'll see that they're more inviting, so they prefer to have closer relationships. The second aspect is whether the person likes to have an organized life, like structure, or likes to have like open-ended type of like schedule and be able to be spontaneous and move things around and change their activities at the last minute. So you'll see that people who are more structured, whether they're male or female, tend to be more possessive. So they like, in a sense, things to be predictable. So they don't like the idea of someone be able to take their mates away from them. They tend to also be harder workers, so probably they invested more in the relationship. Whereas the person is more spontaneous, they have a mindset that I can find somebody else. They don't tend to want to invest as much. They're not as reliable, reachable, so they probably have not put as much time, effort, and energy into the relationship compared to the organized or structured type. So based on these two characteristics, I would say that the feminine organized type is probably the most possessive and the most, to show signs of jealousy because they invested a lot of time and energy in their relationship and they like that closeness. Whereas the masculine spontaneous type is probably the types that are more likely to not want to be possessed because their idea is really like the theme of their lives is freedom and movement, and they don't like to be controlled, and also they don't tend to control it, so they give a little space to their mates, and they're the type of person to say, what, I can always find somebody else, so their focus is not so much their close relationships. They're that type, actually, the masculine optimists tend to be the type to be entrepreneurs, so they're probably going to be focused more on accomplishment, and also they like things that are new. So if we compare the person who is the feminine organized type, what they want to bond with their partner. So they tend to be very selective and invest a lot of time, energy, and attention into their partner. Whereas, let's say if we look at the masculine spontaneous type, what they want is mostly freedom of movement, especially when talking the masculine optimist, and they like novelty. So obviously, if let's say you easily get bored, you probably are more likely to change partners more often than if you're the type of person who wants to focus on one person and we invest of time and energy into that one individual. So to summarize, if we look at the 16 personality types, there are 4 types who are the feminine organized type that are going to be most likely jealous and possessive when it comes to their close relation, but specifically the romantic partners. Whereas if a person is the spontaneous masculine type, they're the least likely to be jealous and possessive because they like their freedom of movement, especially when we're talking about the optimist type, and they like novelty and they like things that are different. So most likely they don't want to stay maybe with one partner for many years. I trust that this information was interesting, eye-opening. If you enjoyed it, please click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will talk soon.